22, an undergraduate student at the University of Waterloo. I'm currently the Vice President Academic of the Mathematics Society at the university. I've suffered from depression since I was 16, compounded by several emotionally abusive relationships. I reached out to Professor Dan Wolczuk, from whom we will be hearing in a moment, when I was disparaging at the indifference of the university and society in general towards students with mental disability. Together we met with other members of the university, such as Brenda and Linda from Counseling Services. This is the first of a series of talks on mental health that we have planned.
Hello, my name is Dan Wolczuk. I'm a lecturer here in the math faculty. I'm going to talk to you about a topic that is very important to me, mental health. For those of you who know me, hold on to your seats because this is probably going to surprise you. But the reason I am here speaking to you today is because I suffered greatly for depression in many years. In fact, I was suicidal for more than 12 years of my life. I was extremely close to committing suicide on several occasions. Those of you who know me are probably thinking, what? Dan, the happiest, most enthusiastic guy we know, was suicidal? Well, yes, I was. Perhaps you are also thinking, did he just admit that he had mental health problems on the internet? Why would he do that? Well, it is because I believe it is so important that if one has mental health issues or even is just feeling down, that it is so important to tell someone. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should put this on a resume or tell your employer, although I guess I just did. But telling someone is the first step to making things better. And it may save your life as it did mine. Similarly, by being there to listen and by being supportive of a friend or family member who is sharing their problems with you, you may save their life. They say that about 25% of students in post-secondary studies suffer from some mental health problems. Moreover, I bet almost all students occasionally suffer from stress or anxiety during their studies. So why is there such a stigma about having poor mental health? It is a common thing that we all go through sometimes. You shouldn't be ashamed that life events or situations have made you feel down or even depressed. No, this is the time when you should be relying on the ear or the shoulder of family, friends, a counselor, or even a mentor like myself. Reach out, and don't be surprised if people reach out to you in their time of need. It is important to note that we have two wonderful and caring counselors right here in the math faculty, Brenda Julian and Linda McKay. You can book an appointment to see one of them by going to the counseling office in Needles Hall. If you ever need someone to talk to, I recommend this. Let me tell you more about my story, why I am here now, and how I got here. It may also come as a surprise to many people, but when I was in grade school, I was a nerd. Okay, maybe that isn't surprising, but being a nerd meant that I was bullied a fair amount. It certainly wasn't the worst, but it was enough to destroy what self-esteem I had and sent me into a very deep depression. I do not know a technical definition for depression, but in my case, I can say that I was suicidal because I just could not imagine that life could ever get better. I did not see the point of living if I would just suffer like that my whole life. Of course, I now know that life can get better, and boy, did it ever get better. But it isn't like I just woke up one day and everything was good. In fact, I still suffer from some lingering effects of depression. But now I know how to cope with it. Whether you are suicidal like I was, or just feeling down after doing poorly on a test, or something in between, there is no magic wand that will suddenly make you feel all better. But there is one thing that helped me a lot. Time. If being depressed is not seeing that the future can be positive, then the real cure is just sticking around long enough to see that the future can be better. This might take months, years, or even more than a decade, like in my case. But if you can learn to cope with your problems, then you can work towards making that better future. So the main thing I want to talk about is how I coped with my depression and how I still cope today. First, I strongly believe the most important thing to have to cope with mental illness is a good support network. This can be made up of family, friends, counselors, and mentors. People who you can talk to when you are feeling down. People who will support you and help you. The only reason I am still here to talk to you today is because I always made sure I had a good support network. I was never afraid to tell my friends of my problems. Of course, having a good support network is not going to stop one from having very bad thoughts, but they can help so much when you do. Let me tell you about one such time that happened during my undergraduate studies. I had been having serious back problems, and my doctor told me that I would probably never dance or play sports ever again. Considering I was suicidal before this, it was way too much for me to handle. I prepared what I was going to do, and I called 2 of my friends to say goodbye. I am so fortunate that they were so understanding and so caring. They rushed to my place and stopped me. They did not let me out of their sight for 2 days. They supported me, and one friend even made my favorite dessert to make me feel better. They saved my life. Several months later, one of the best things that ever happened to me happened. I ruptured a disc in my back and was paralyzed for 2 days. Yes, you heard me right. I believe that is one of the best things that ever happened to me. Lying on the hospital bed for 2 days, unable to move, changed my view on a lot of things. I had been so depressed about maybe not being able to ever dance again or being lonely my whole life, and now I realized how lucky I had been just to be able to walk. I thought about all the millions of people in the world who did not have all the things and the support that I did. I started appreciating all the things that I had and tried to worry less about the things that I didn't. Of course, it's not that I just got instantly better, but when I left my hometown to move to Waterloo for my graduate studies, I still suffered from depression and had suicidal thoughts. Moreover, I had left my entire support network behind. However, the fact that I succeeded through my undergraduate studies, despite my problems, gave me hope. The fact that I was dancing and playing sports again 8 months after my surgery showed me that no matter what you are told or see, the future can be better. My past experience has told me to start building a strong support network again. I joined clubs to meet new people. I met with a few counselors and psychologists until I found one that I liked and connected with. Of course, despite all I did have bad days. I have a friend who probably doesn't realize how many times she saved my life by just being there for me. However, as each month passed, I could see more and more that life could be better, and that made me work even harder to try to achieve it. If someone had told me when I was 20 years old that I would be married and have the perfect job of being a math lecturer at such a great school as the University of Waterloo, I never would have believed them. However, I wonder, maybe if someone had tried, maybe if someone had said it is possible, then maybe I would have been that little bit less depressed. Maybe I would have believed that little bit more. So if you are suffering from depression or some other mental illness, or even if you are just feeling a little down, let me tell you, it will get better. It may take a lot of effort on your part, but it is worth it. It will get better. I am not someone great like Stephen Hawking or Terry Fox, who overcame their disability to do great things. I'm just an ordinary person who just kept going. It is not like I never gave up. I did. I was just wise enough to find people who saved me in my times of need. If I could do it, so can anyone. I will never totally be better. I can still have negative thoughts. However, I am so good now at coping that they don't affect me anymore. About 2 months ago, I started feeling very depressed. I was going to cancel my plans with my friends and sit down and watch a sad, depressing movie. But I quickly remembered that it's exactly the wrong thing to do. So I made sure that I kept my plans with my friends, and I instead put on a funny, uplifting movie. Poof, no more depression. When I look back at it now, kind of like how being paralyzed was one of the best things that happened to me, I am proud that I had a mental illness. Look at what I accomplished despite it. It is another obstacle that I proved that I could overcome. It is a scar that I wear with honor. I may not be famous or rich or spectacular in any way, but I overcame all of those obstacles to make my dreams come true. As they say, the greater the challenge, the greater the reward. To conclude, let me say, whether you have a mental health problem now or not, make yourself a support network and be a part of other people's support network. And most importantly, when life starts getting you down, which happens to us all, tell someone. A family member, a friend, a counselor. The support they can bring can really help you to learn to help yourself, as I have learned to help myself. Thank you for listening to my story. If you wish to hear more about my story or are willing to tell me yours, I am always happy to talk and listen. Thank you.